started on a mountain top. In June 2022, a small team stood on the snow-capped peaks of the Rwenzoris and planted a flag for an idea, a marathon in Kasese. 5 years on, the idea is a business, thousands of runners, millions of shillings moving through hotels, taxis, restaurants, and craft markets in a single weekend. A World Athletics label putting Uganda alongside a handful of African nations whose marathons are certified to the same standard as London, Boston, and Cape Town.
I'm from Ireland. I just ran the 5K. I'm having the best time of my life in Uganda. This place is absolutely incredible. I don't want to leave, but when I do, I'm going to come straight back.
The beauty, the scenery, man. This is not something you see every single day.
Kasese is rocking. GDP growth, lots of socio-economic impact. Fire in the belly, everybody was hungry to run and to win. What an experience it has been.
These guys have really, really suffered and shown the true spirit of marathon running. There's been mud, there's been rain, they've been running up in the mountains, but they've seen the beauty of the Rwenzoris, and that is why we're here today, because the Rwenzori mountains need to be shown to the world. And this event truly has shown the spirit of Kasese, of the Rwenzoris, and why we're here.
Thank God that He gave us the Rwenzoris, naturally gifted by nature, the only mountain that is along the equator and yet kept with snow.
Tonight on NBS Business, the Tusker Light Mountain Rwenzori Marathon at 5. We break down the numbers behind the finish line, what a destination marathon is really worth to a local economy, why a beer brand chooses to build a platform instead of just branding a banner, and why wellness, not just fitness, is becoming one of Africa's fastest growing industries. We start with the man who planted that flag. Amos Wekesa is no stranger to Uganda's tourism story, but 5 years ago he made a bet that a foot trace through the foothills of the Rwenzoris could do what safaris alone couldn't: pull first-time visitors into a part of the country most Ugandans have never seen, let alone international tourists.
Of course, becoming a label marathon, you need so much money to be able to push the agenda of growth. I think as a marathon, we've been using over 2 billion shillings every year. You see, every time you see us out of the country, is either $50 million, 50 million shillings or 100 million shillings, and I've been footing it myself. And yet, the biggest beneficiary is the country. At the end of the day, it's the businesses in the countries, the people who are selling their chickens, the people who are accommodating the guys. So seeing government coming in and actually fulfilling their promise is a very, very important thing. It's very good for us. And now, of course, our dream is to try and now take the marathon to another level. There are 2 things that we're targeting. Number 1 is to make sure more money is actually earned by Uganda, because, and that won't happen without the population starting, especially the business people. You forget those who are not in business, but especially the business people. They must find ways in which to be part of this whole activation so that money is left by runners. That's the most important thing. But number 2, we want to take Rwenzori Marathon to another level. I know that our neighbors have seen, and are also fighting now to take their marathon to gold. We also want to make sure that within 2-3 years, Rwenzori Marathon is a gold level. Now, if you look at New York Marathon, it brings in almost $1 billion to the New York economy. If you look at Chicago Marathon, over $700 million. If you look at London Marathon, over £250 million. So, and people just think we can't do it. We can actually do it. We just have to be serious. We have to be consistent. Like you've seen, we've been very consistent in pushing this agenda, and it will come to happen. And we're ready for that.
Today, the numbers back the bet. The marathon now draws entrants from more than 10 countries in a single edition.
From September, we are going to start pushing for top elites to come, because the amount of awarding is going to go higher. So there will be top 5 or top 8 in every category, especially 42 and 21. We'll also have some money for the oldest runner. We also have some money for the youngest runner. We'll have some money for the community. So it's going to be a lot of different awards this year. And then next year, I want to make sure that even those who break the record on our track here in Uganda, wherever you come from, you take home a lot of money.
Marathons like Rwenzori aren't the only sporting events being built with tourism in mind. Around the country, smaller, more niche runs are borrowing the same. One of those is a run built around something Uganda is quietly world-class at: birding.
When we say run for birds, it's a broad, we can see it on a broad perspective. But for the beginning, we look at bird conservation, whereby bird conservation, we look at endangered species and their habitats. So for this year's focus, we are looking at conserving wetlands because they harbor or become to be the home for the crested cranes. So as we are running for birds, we are promoting conservation, wetland conservation, whereby we are protecting or ensuring safety and longevity of the crested cranes, our national pride. At Avian Conservation Society, we deal on some of the many reasons to why travelers or visitors come in Uganda. And these visitors come basically for tourism purposes. And when we engage Run for Birds, it is partly conservation part of it and also community tourism.
So that's the organizer's view, and the niche operators. Tascalite has been the title sponsor of this marathon since the very first edition. We wanted to know why a beer brand decided this was worth more than a banner at the finish line. Elizabeth Mutamliza is the marketing manager at Tascalite.
The Tascalite Rwenzori Marathon. It's been an idea that has been around for the last 5 years. Everyone seems to run to Kasese somewhat in the course of the year for this marathon. And it has slowly become one of East Africa's leading destination marathons. So we want to find out from you, when you look at this journey over the last 5 years, what stands out for you from a business perspective?
I think for me, what stands out for me when it comes to marathon is what you've just said. It has become one of the leading marathons in East Africa, if not the leading marathon in East Africa. I think what stands out for me is how we started and where we are right now, 5 years later, from having about 600 runners. Now we're in 5,000, 6,000 runners coming to Kasese. The fact that it's no longer just about Uganda, it's the region. You're finding a lot of Kenyans coming, international runners coming in, and even just the impact it is having on Kasese itself. A lot of things have changed, the number of hotels, the number of businesses, the anticipation that comes from people looking forward to August every year, coming for the marathon. I think for me, the impact it has had on the economy of Kasese, on Uganda as well, in terms of the international runners and people who come to Uganda, which obviously means more money into the economy. So I think for me, that's some of the things that stand out in the marathon.
So I want us to go into that, because for me, and money and numbers, like number one and number two. So beyond the impact of sport, you have talked about the implication it has had on Kasese and its surrounding areas. Would you kindly share the economic implications this marathon has had on them?
So I think I would say when it comes to the hospitality industry in Kasese, right? So you find that hotels, from 5 years ago, hotels have tripled the number of rooms that are available right now. In fact, we are not even able to meet the demand, right, of people who are trying to come to Kasese for the run. So you're finding people going to Fort Portal, for example, surrounding areas. So the hotels have tripled, the restaurants, the bars as well, because again, it's a fun time and exciting time for people. You're seeing, give you an example of a boda rider who told us in the last edition of the marathon that of the Tascalite Marathon that he can now pay school fees for his kid for a year, right? Because of the money that was coming in from the Bazungu, like he was calling it. So a ride that was 5,000 shillings is now selling, right into my 10,000 shillings. It's like I've never held $1 in my life or things like that. So just speaks to the impact that it's having on the different sectors, yeah.
Why did you as Tascalite decide to go beyond sponsorship and actually help build the platform?
The reason why we went beyond sponsorship. So first of all, I look at sponsorship. What we have with the Tascalite Mountains Rain Marathon is a partnership. And what that means is that a partnership is not just visibility, right? Sponsorship to me is I want visibility. I want to be known as the sponsor, the title sponsor of a marathon. But for us, we look at it as a partnership. What it means is that a partnership drives meaningfulness. It drives connection with consumers, right? So we are able to give you the full experience of what the marathon is about, for example, Tascalite in particular as a brand. We're able to connect with you deeper than it being a more passive sort of engagement, yeah? So you'll see, let's say if it's Tascalite, you'll see my nice logo there, you'll see my drinks there, but what does that mean, right? So for us, going beyond that and making it an experience, right? So that it's mutually beneficial for us, for the person who is coming to run, or the runners and consumers, but as well as the partners that we work with, yeah. So for us, it made more sense to be look at it as a partnership, because then it's holistic.
For the last 5 years, I believe you can see your efforts have now come to fruition, because the marathon has recently achieved World Athletics label status and is now officially on the World Athletics calendar. So why does this matter from one, a business, and as well an investment standpoint?
So I think from, I'll start with an investment point of view. What this does is that it gives credibility. It also positions us as a brand that is about quality. That's a brand about sets high standards. It's a quality brand. So for us, it just kind of emphasizes and amplifies who we are as Tascalite, right? A quality beer, a beer for those who are seeking quality, and all of that. And I think now from a business point of view, when you have a property like this that is world label status, that inevitably means that, first of all, again, credibility, but then also the demand increases, which means that international runners, the international community are now able to come. They believe they're able to come into the country, which means that brings tourism as well, the economy in terms of the money we make from tourism. So that also increases, and again, more runners come in. So the value of an international runner coming into the market, into your country, is almost triple that what you get from our local runners, for example, because there's tickets bought, there is accommodations, there is, maybe climbing Mount Renzori, so it adds a lot more value.
All right.
Yeah.
So we want to find out from you, what has surprised you the most about the growth of the marathon over the last 5 years?
The exponential growth of the economy, for example, in Kasese. But the one that really is endearing is the people of Kasese, the way they have embraced this marathon. It's like, it's their thing now, right? It's like if they could make a public holiday out of it, they would. So I think that's what has really surprised me about it, the way they have embraced it, the people of Kasese, the business owners, the community at large. Like, you really feel like they're with you, they're supporting you. So I think for me, that's really been the biggest surprise, and it's quite endearing.
5 years, 5 editions, one brand name attached throughout. In a market where sponsors often walk away after year 2, if the numbers don't move fast enough, Tascalite doubled down instead, helping build the operation rather than simply funding it. We asked Elizabeth Mutamliza what that bet has actually delivered.
When you look at that, has this changed the way Tascalite thinks about its marketing as well as brand building strategy?
I think it's been part of how we look at brand building and marketing, because we see these days it's not, consumers have moved away from being told that this is a good brand. Yeah, consumers are now interested in, how does this brand make me feel? It's all about how it makes me feel. How does it relate to what I consider important to me in life? So for us, it's now how this platform gives us an opportunity for us to be able to be more than just an advert, but to be a part of someone's life. Yeah, I like to run, I like to care about my well-being. So we are the brand who is the catalyst for that, right? So in terms of brand building, we are looking at it like, you need to give consumers a reason to choose you. That means you have to be entrenched in their lives, right? You plug into the things they like, you give them the good experiences, and that's what they'll remember. You say, there's that saying that says, no one remembers what you did, but how you made them feel.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's exactly what that's exactly the angle that we use when it comes to brand building. Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that stands out lately for any organizer, for anyone, is sustainability, and it's important for all aspects, including global sporting events. So how is the marathon promoting responsible tourism while conserving the environment around the Rwenzori region?
Yeah, so I think for us, it's really, and this was one of the objectives from the very start of the marathon, and one of the things that we found critical when we were coming into this is the spotlight on the environmental impact it's having on the Rwenzori glaciers, right? Having a spotlight on that and being able to show the world the effects of, the global, what you'd call global warming, right? So for us, I think that was one of the things that we set out to do, and I think we've been able to achieve that thus far. Yes, there's still a lot of more work to do, but we believe we shall be able to achieve it.
What is the next phase, or what does the next phase look like for the Tusker Light Rwenzori Marathon?
I think the next phase is, how do we get 10,000 people?
Wow.
Yeah, to come for the marathon. I know it's a wow, but I think we can achieve it, because what we've achieved in 5 years, wasn't not something we expected to do. I think, again, to continue to grow Kasese, there's so much we have yet to tap into. I've talked about the environmental efforts we want to put into that. So I think for us, looking at the next 5-10 years, is how do we bring in more from a sports tourism point of view? How do we even grow Kasese? There's so much we haven't yet done. And of course, just continue to encourage and drive wellness and well-being, living a healthy lifestyle at the end of the day. We want those 10,000 runners to be like, a lot more Ugandans coming to run. Yeah.
I want you to look into your camera and tell potential runners what they should expect ahead of the 5th edition of the marathon.
You can expect a lot more competition, because there are a lot more runners coming this time round. But also, now speaking from a Tusker Light point of view, of course you expect the entertainment, the great experience, fun as you run, but also just a really good and well-organized marathon at international standards.
Tourism and sport aren't the only sectors cashing in on Uganda's growing appetite for healthy living. Across the border and beyond, apparel industry has been growing just as fast. Wellness. Let's look at that after the break.